How I create the most romantic candlelit dinner at home. The most romantic dinner I can create is not about pretending my home is a 5-star restaurant. It is about making one person feel like the entire world got quieter on purpose, just long enough for us to remember how beautiful it is to be fully present with one another. I believe romance begins before the first candle is lit. It begins with intention. It begins when I decide that this evening will not be squeezed between errands, notifications, television noise, unfolded laundry, work stress, and a hurried meal eaten while standing at the kitchen counter. It begins when I say, tonight I am going to create a memory. Not an expensive performance, not a perfect photograph, a memory. Because the truth is, nobody falls in love with a napkin fold. They fall in love with how they feel when someone makes room for them. They remember the way I looked at them across the table. They remember the music, the laughter, the scent in the air, the thoughtfulness behind the meal, the way I made ordinary space feel sacred. I do not need a mansion, I need imagination. Before I think about the food, I think about the feeling. Romance is not built in a cluttered room where I am apologizing every 5 minutes for the mess. I do not need to renovate my house, but I do need to reset the energy. I clean the visible space. I clear the table. I put away the mail, the random cords, the gym bag, the pile of clothes, and every little reminder that says, I almost made an effort. I believe clutter speaks before I do. A clean room says, I was expecting you. It says, your presence matters here. I begin with the table, even if I do not own a formal dining room. A small kitchen table can become unforgettable. A coffee table can become intimate. A blanket on the floor with cushions and a low tray can become a private little world. What matters is that I create a space that feels intentionally different from an ordinary Tuesday night. I use a real tablecloth, placemats, a clean runner, or even a simple piece of fabric that gives the table warmth. I bring out the plates that do not normally make an appearance. I use cloth napkins if I have them. If I do not, I fold quality paper napkins neatly and place them with care. I do not need everything to match. I need it to feel considered. A small vase with flowers, fresh, dried, or even a few cut stems from outside, can change the entire mood. I do not need an enormous bouquet blocking our view of one another. I want the table to feel beautiful, not like it is preparing for a coronation. I believe the most romantic table has one purpose. It makes conversation easy. So I keep the center low. I keep the chairs comfortable. I make sure there is room for plates, glasses, hands, and the possibility of leaning closer without bumping into a tower of decorations. Then come the candles. Candlelight does something electric to an ordinary room. It softens hard edges. It turns a meal into an occasion. It makes the walls feel farther away and the person across from me feel closer. But romance should never become reckless. The U.S. Fire Administration advises using sturdy candle holders, keeping lit candles at least 12 inches from anything combustible, and extinguishing them whenever I leave the room or go to sleep. It also notes that flameless battery-operated candles can create a similar atmosphere without an open flame. I take that seriously. I place candles on stable, uncluttered surfaces where they cannot be bumped by sleeves, pets, children, plates, or an enthusiastic gesture during a great conversations. I keep them away from curtains, paper, flowers, loose fabric, and anything that burns. I do not light every candle I own and turn the room into a fire hazard with background music. I believe a few intentional flames are more romantic than 50 distractions. I use candles of different heights if I have them. Perhaps 2 tapered candles in sturdy holders and a few small votives in glass containers. I may place a few along the table, on a nearby shelf, or around the room, but never so many that the space becomes cluttered or unsafe. If I want the look without the concern, I use high-quality flameless candles. They can still create warmth, especially when paired with dimmed lamps or soft string lights. The point is not the flame itself. The point is the glow. I turn off harsh overhead lights. Nothing destroys a romantic atmosphere faster than lighting that makes the room feel like a dentist's office. I use a lamp in the corner, soft string lights, or a dimmer if I have one. The goal is not darkness. I still want to see each other's faces, the food, the wine, and the expressions that make the night worth remembering. I believe the best lighting says, stay a while. Music is not background noise, it is emotional architecture. The right playlist can make a meal feel cinematic. The wrong playlist can make it feel like I accidentally hosted a party for strangers. I choose music that is warm, familiar, and low enough that we do not have to compete with it. Soft jazz, acoustic soul, old school love songs, instrumental guitar, mellow R&B, piano, bossa nova, or songs that carry personal history can all work beautifully. But I do not make the mistake of creating a playlist that forces every song to announce, "This is romance." The evening should feel natural, not like a commercial for scented candles. I believe the best playlist carries a story. Maybe it begins with light, relaxed music while I finish cooking, and we settle in. Then it becomes a little deeper during dinner. Later, after dessert, it can open into the songs that bring back memories, inspire dancing in the kitchen, or make us laugh because we both know every word. I make the playlist before the evening begins. I do not want to be interrupting the moment every 4 minutes to skip a song, search for a track, or explain why an unexpected commercial just started playing. Romance lives in flow. The biggest mistake I can make is choosing a meal so complicated that I spend the entire evening sweating over the stove while my date sits alone, wondering whether she should offer to help. I do not need to cook something difficult. I need to cook something delicious that allows me to be present. I believe the best romantic meal is built around one impressive centerpiece, two simple supporting players, and a dessert that feels like a closing scene. For example, I might make pan-seared salmon with lemon herb butter, roasted potatoes, and asparagus, or a creamy pasta with chicken, shrimp, mushrooms, or vegetables paired with a simple salad and warm bread, or steak with garlic butter, roasted vegetables, and a dessert I prepared ahead of time. If I am not comfortable cooking, I do not pretend to be a celebrity chef. I can create a beautiful meal using smart shortcuts, quality store-bought ravioli with a homemade sauce, a roasted chicken elevated with herbs and sides, a charcuterie-style first course, a bakery dessert plated beautifully, or a favorite dish from a local restaurant served thoughtfully at home. There is no shame in making the night easier. The romance is not in whether I made every ingredient from scratch. It is in whether I made the person feel cared for. I prepare as much as possible before the doorbell rings. I chop vegetables earlier. I make the sauce in advance. I set out the serving dishes. I chill the drinks. I choose a recipe that lets me finish the final steps without becoming unavailable. I believe the host should not disappear into the kitchen all night. If I want to cook together, that can be deeply romantic too. I choose something interactive but forgiving. Homemade pizzas, tacos with beautiful fillings, pasta, fondue, a build-your-own appetizer board, or a dessert we can assemble together. Cooking side by side gives us something to do with our hands while the conversation warms up naturally. And I pay attention to dietary needs and preferences. Romance is not serving the perfect steak to someone who does not eat meat because I was too focused on my own vision to ask a simple question. I ask in advance, casually and respectfully. What foods do you love? Is there anything you avoid? That question tells someone I am planning for them, not just for a fantasy version of the evening. The small details create the difference. I chill water in a pitcher with lemon, berries, or cucumber. I pour wine, sparkling water, tea, or a favorite non-alcoholic drink into real glasses. I place a small handwritten note at their seat if that fits the relationship, something simple, warm, and genuine. Maybe it says, "I am glad you are here." Maybe it says, "Tonight is for us." Maybe it says, "You deserve a beautiful evening." I do not overdo it. Romance loses power when it starts sounding like a speech written for an audience. I want my words to feel like mine. I believe the best romance is specific. If I know they love a certain flower, I bring that flower. If they have a favorite dessert, I find a way to include it. If a song reminds me of a conversation we had, I add it to the playlist. If they love a particular kind of tea after dinner, I have it ready. Those details say, "I listen when you speak." And that may be the most seductive sentence in the world. I also think about scent. The kitchen should smell wonderful, but I do not want 10 competing fragrances battling for attention. If I use a candle with fragrance, I choose something light or skip it entirely once food is being served. I want the aroma of garlic, herbs, citrus, butter, bread, wine, or dessert to have its moment. The room should feel inviting, not overwhelming. A candlelit dinner at home does not mean I wear whatever I had on while taking out the trash. I do not need a tuxedo, but I shower, groom, choose clothes that fit, and wear something that makes me feel confident. I create a shift in energy. I want the evening to feel different from everyday life, and how I show up physically is part of that message. I believe getting dressed is a form of respect. It says, "I did not treat your presence casually. I also make sure the bathroom is clean, stocked, and welcoming." This is not glamorous advice, but it matters. Fresh hand towels, soap, a clean mirror, a tidy counter, and a lined trash can are quiet signs that I thought beyond the table. Romance is rarely one giant gesture. It is many small acts of care, arranged in the same direction. The food may be beautiful. The candles may be perfect. The music may be unforgettable. But if I spend the evening talking only about myself, checking my phone, complaining about work, or treating the conversation like an interview, I have missed the point. I believe the greatest luxury I can offer someone is my undivided attention. I put my phone away, not face down beside my plate as if it might be needed at any second. Away. I look at them when they speak. I ask questions that make room for more than surface answers. I do not interrogate, I invite. What has been making you feel most alive lately? What is something you want more of in this season of life? What is a memory that still makes you smile immediately? What do you wish people understood about you more easily? What would your perfect ordinary day look like? These questions are not magic tricks, they are doors, and I listen without rushing to relate everything back to myself. I do not need to impress them with my answer. I need to be curious enough to understand theirs. I also allow laughter. Romance is not supposed to be stiff. If the sauce spills, the bread burns a little, or we both get caught singing the wrong lyrics, I do not let perfectionism steal the night. Some of the most romantic memories are imperfect, because they are real. I believe people remember how safe it felt to be themselves, more than how perfect the table looked. A candlelit dinner should never carry an unspoken demand. I do not create beauty as a transaction. I do not assume that effort purchases access to anyone's body, time, or emotions. True romance honors consent, comfort, pace, and freedom. The evening is successful because we connected, not because it led to a particular outcome. That mindset makes everything more genuine. After dinner, I clear the table without making a production of it. I offer dessert somewhere more comfortable. Maybe we sit on the couch with a blanket nearby, not placed like a trap, but available if the moment calls for it. Maybe we have coffee or tea. Maybe we listen to music. Maybe we dance in the kitchen. Maybe we take a short walk under the night sky. Maybe we simply keep talking. I believe the best endings do not rush. They allow the night to breathe. If food is left out, I remember that perishable items should generally be refrigerated within 2 hours. USDA guidance notes that food held between 40°C and 140°C can become unsafe as bacteria multiply more quickly. I take care of the practical details quietly and then return to the moment. Before the night ends, I make sure every flame is out. The National Fire Protection Association specifically advises blowing out candles before leaving a room or going to bed. A romantic night should leave a warm memory, not a dangerous one. The most romantic candlelit dinner at home is not built with expensive ingredients, flawless cooking, or an endless supply of candles. It is built when I choose to notice someone, when I clean the room because I want them to feel welcomed, when I select a song because it reminds me of them, when I cook with care instead of trying to impress, when I ask a question and truly wait for the answer, when I slow down enough to let the night become more than another meal. I believe romance is attention made visible, and when the candles are glowing, the food is warm, the music is soft, and the person across from me realizes I created this moment not to show off, but simply because they matter, then home becomes more than a place to live. It becomes the most romantic room in the world. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.